I've flown dozens of FPV drones over the years, but after a full year, there's one I keep reaching for, the DJI Avata 2. It's made me more money than any other drone I own, saved me time on shoots, and has been my go-to travel drone. But with newer options on the market and with the O4 Pro out, is it still worth it in 2025? Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. When the Avata 2 was released, I wasn't sure I needed it. I already had FPV drones I loved and used for work, but then I saw the camera quality and realized it could replace multiple drones in my setup. So I took the leap. $1,500 later, I had the Fly More kit, remote controller, extra props, and a big question: would it hold up on real jobs? And I didn't have long to find out. 5 days later, I was flying to Mexico for a destination wedding shoot. Packing was tight. I needed to fit 3 cameras, a full audio setup, 2 tripods, a gimbal, and a drone. Normally, I'd bring my DJI Mini 4 Pro for its portability, but I really wanted to bring an FPV drone too. The problem? My usual FPV setup, goggles, controller, battery, charger, LiPo bags, tools, and extra parts took up an entire backpack, and I didn't have that kind of space. Enter the Avata 2. Small enough to fit with my camera gear, FPV and normal flight modes, USB-C charging for easy power management. It was the only drone that checked all the boxes. The drone arrived 2 days before my flight. Not ideal, but I had to get comfortable fast. So I charged up the batteries and took it out to the park for a quick test flight. So I got the Avata out here today for my first test flight. Let's try not to break it before I go to Mexico. All right, I'm really nervous. Here we go. Woo! It did not like that landing. It's a little squirrely. I don't like these sticks, but you know, we're okay. But like, I can see the power lines really well. We can come in and do a little bit of chasing maybe. I mean, this thing is a blast. The wind is taking it a little bit, but I mean, I love this thing. This is so much more fun to fly than the original Avata. Way, way, way better to fly. Like, this is night and day difference. And I mean, like, I've gotten to fly this thing for so long and my battery's only at 62%. But like with a normal FPV drone, I definitely would have already had to bring it back. Man, this thing is fun to fly. Woohoo! It was a 5-minute flight and we're only at 50% battery. What the? And wow, the original Avata felt underpowered, but this, smooth, responsive, and powerful. I could actually pull out of dives and the throttle response felt great. I was still debating whether to bring it to Mexico, but after one flight, I knew it was coming with me. Mexico was my first real test. I spent a week at an all-inclusive resort, and while I didn't fly as much as I wanted out of respect for the guests, the flights I did get were stunning. And here's where I realized something major. The wind on the beach was crazy. If I had brought my fly lens at 85, which I was wanting to bring, I might not have been able to fly at all. And the Avata 2 handled it like a champ. Although with it being a new drone, is a little sketchy flying with all that wind, but it did extremely well, as you can see. First flight in Mexico on the DJI Avata 2. Let's rip it. Oh, this thing is freaking sweet. The wind is insane, I will say though. This wind is absolutely ridiculous. But this resort is gorgeous. I freaking love this thing. I ain't talking much because we just focus on flying because this wind is gnarly, but we are getting it. I mean, this thing is so freaking cool. And this water is gorgeous. And fast forward a few months, I had another job in Guatemala. Same packing challenges, same Avata 2 setup, and again, it was perfect. And at this point, I was convinced this is the ultimate travel drone. It can fly FPV and it can do slow, smooth cinematic movements as well. But a drone isn't just a toy, and I needed this one to pay for itself. And that's where real estate and commercial work come in. Before the Avata 2, I used the Flylens 85 with the Naked O3 air unit for real estate drone tours. It was small and had decent battery life and good camera quality, but the Avata 2 blew it away for one simple reason: altitude hold. The original Avata relied on GPS for position hold, which was useless indoors. Go into a basement and it would freak out. The Avata 2, however, has proximity sensors that let it stay rock solid even with no satellites. And here's the best part: pause mid-flight, open or close a door, and then resume the tour without the drone drifting. It literally stays in the exact same spot. That's a huge deal for real estate tours. Instead of needing to reframe a shot or start over, I can simply let go of the controls, make an adjustment, and pick up exactly where I left off. And all of this means faster shoots with fewer takes, smoother, more professional looking tours without bobbing up and down, more confidence flying indoors without constant corrections. In fact, I can now shoot an entire real estate drone tour in about 15 minutes. Before, it took me upwards of sometimes an hour, and sometimes I needed to have 2 batteries running and cut up the video footage. Instead of now, I can just use one. And if you're running a business, efficiency equals more profit. So who should buy the Avata 2? Beginners? Well, maybe. It's expensive, but it's one of the easiest ways to get into FPV. Just please start in a simulator first. Cinematographers? Not the best cinema drone, but great for travel and quick cinematic FPV shots. Real estate and business owners? 100% yes. If you shoot drone tours, this will make your life easier and your work so much smoother. If you need a jack-of-all-trades drone that's portable, reliable, and versatile, the Avata 2 is definitely hard to beat. So that brings us back to the question, a year later, is the Avata 2 still worth it? For me, absolutely. It's the drone I fly the most. It's made me more money than any other drone I own, and it's made my business far more efficient. I'd absolutely buy it again without any hesitation. If you're a filmmaker, real estate professional, or someone who values ease of use and reliability, I can confidently say that yes, the DJI Avata 2 is still worth it in 2025. What do you think about the DJI Avata 2? Will you be picking one up yourself? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and consider supporting me on Patreon, as this channel is self-funded and it really does mean a ton. And I'm pretty sure YouTube wants you to watch this video right here.